Today we are going to double the doors, which means we are going to double the opportunity in this great property. So we're not only just going to go inside and show you this wonderful investment, we're going to outline a step-by-step guide on how you can take this duplex and turn it into the highest and best use. And hang tight, we've got a special guest inside that's going to show you exactly how it's done. So now that we're inside, we're going to introduce you to Leigh Pukin of Fixed. And Leigh, what is it that you do here in the city?
We own a general contracting firm specializing in real estate transactions here in Calgary.
That's amazing. So for you, the consumer, you, the YouTube viewer, you know, we could show you this property in a nutshell, but I'm sure you're looking at this being like, this is a shell of a home. This has a lot of potential. And with Leigh, we're going to go room by room, level by level, really outlining the full absolute potential of this property and also how to go about doing it, making sure costs are fixed at a certain price point, and also how to avoid some of the loopholes that some early renovators, investors may get themselves into. So Leigh, this is the first time in the property, first time laying eyes on this home. What are your first impressions of this?
I think it's amazing. I think it's a little bit of a time warp, but
definitely,
man, it's got great bones, incredible original fixturing throughout, and I think it's up to you how much you want to spend here. I think you could, a lot of this is worth preserving.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of stuff that you can maybe mix a little new and old, which I think not a lot of renovators do, and they're whitewashing their, you know, completely everything new. And I think to give that kind of timeless feel, but also preserving decades of very cool architecture, this is something you can do a little bit of both. Okay, Leigh, in an ideal world, it's possession day for the new owner right now. They want to turn 2 doors into 4. How do they go about getting started? What's step number 1 right now?
Step number 1 is determine scope. What are we going to do, and what's great as is. After that, it's permitting. We got to get a development permit, building permits, and then we'll have to get the trade permits when we actually get to that point.
That's perfect. So let's say, okay, let's talk about windows. Cost on windows to do something like this is roughly?
I would expect you to be, you know, if we're talking about just the one side of the property, what sits here currently now, probably 25 to 30,000.
Sure, okay. And then as you see it, if we're doing doors, if we're doing some renovation to the bedroom, if we're like, you know, modernizing this, like probably what we're looking at. Also like scope of timeline for this would be awesome to hear, like, okay, we've got the windows in, maybe what's next step kind of thing.
Yeah, I think over the next couple of weeks, we would address any kind of major floor plan changes.
Sure.
And then we'd kind of be into some finishing work. Obviously paint, decide what we're doing with the ceiling. Are we keeping some of the original casings? Are they gonna stay wood, or are we gonna go to a painted finish? What are we doing with doors and hinges and handles? There's also some stuff that probably isn't gonna make the cut. Probably need a new kitchen.
Right.
So we would start with planning that out, and what does it look like?
Kitchen.
What's the floor?
Perfect, heart of the home. Let's move on to the kitchen and talk about that. All right, Leigh, kitchen. I like the layout. I don't think we got to do much layout perspective. I think we were talking earlier, maybe if we're doing stack laundry up here, moving it from down to up to give that sweet feel.
Yeah.
Probably right here is going to be ideal. You push the kitchen out a little bit.
Sure.
Then you're just working cabinets, backsplash, countertops, new appliances, making sure the venting is right. So eyeballing this up right now, you know, if you're redoing all that, giving a facelift, a refresh, what are we looking at for costs on this?
I think you could put something quite nice together in here. 30, 40,000?
30, 40, I was thinking 40 probably. You want to put a higher budget, you want to have a contingency. That's another thing with the renovation for sure. So, you know, 40, you want to do next door, that's about 40 as well. So,
I think so, yeah.
Since we're just talking about one side, we do have another side to consider too. What is a benefit of hiring you to do full suite, and also renovation on both sides? So we're doing essentially 4 renos.
Yeah.
In order to like, cost savings, timeline, you know, not going through the process 4 times over with permitting and whatnot. You know, if an investor said, okay, let's bang this out, let's get the returns coming in ASAP, what sort of cost savings would be allocated towards doing this all at once?
I think they would be twofold. First one is the economy of scale of doing both at the same time, same people on site, same setup, mirror image. It would go faster, and time is money. So we've got better bargaining power, as well as a similar scope on both sides.
Awesome.
One of the biggest cost overruns would be rework. So if we do go ahead with a partial scope and then have to open up some of our new work to complete this phase 2 of the project, those costs would be double, at least.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. So highly recommended to plan it out, make sure you know what you're doing with, plan your budget. Also, if you can do it all at once, you're gonna save quite a bit of money. So let's move on to the back of the house, talk about these bedrooms and these bathrooms. So right now we're at the back of the home. We're gonna talk about the bedrooms and bathrooms and the potential with that. So right now it's set up as a 3-bed, 1-bath, great for families, but there's no primary, there's no ensuite. So what about taking one of these rooms, turning it into primary and ensuite, keeping the guest bed, and now it's a 2-bed, 2-bath.
I think you've again got the ideal setup in a home like this. And the basement is untouched. We have free access to all of the services.
Huge talking point, yeah.
For sure, and it's gonna save a lot of money. Up here, probably these back 2 bedrooms convert into one, and then we have enough space to really do a nice ensuite and a nice big spacious closet. Still gives you 2 bedrooms up and keeps this bathroom over here intact. Just a little update in there and we'd be good to go.
Sure. What about costs for doing something like that? If we did switch it from 3 to 1 to 2 and 2, with all the moving parts, moving walls, adding plumbing, fixtures.
This is again
yeah,
one of those places that it really makes sense to have a good plan going in. Because we can leverage a lot of the trades that we have on site for the whole scope of the project. If we were to just add a bathroom and just do the wall conversion to 2 bedrooms, we'd easily be probably 30, 35,000 with some pretty standard fixturing.
Sure.
But if we do it at the same time and we can capitalize on the economy of scale of having the trades here for the other projects around the home, I think we can drive that cost down. We might be looking 15, 20.
Wow. Yeah. Big savings. Okay, I love it. There's an empty shell downstairs waiting for us. I can't wait to show it to you. Let's head downstairs. All right, lower level, the basement. There's not a lot of feature films we'll do down here on an unfinished basement, but this is all value for you, the consumer. You come down here, 2 good things. Furnace, hot water tank, recently replaced in the last couple of years on both sides. So that's cost savings of close to $10,000. So
absolutely,
right out of the gate, we're saving money down here. So the rest of it's an empty shell. So a lot of people would come down here, they're YouTube it, they DIY it, they look at the home shows, but we want to do it the right way. We want to make sure the permitting is there, the egress windows there, the electrical, the plumbing, insulation, soundproofing, all that stuff. If we're turning this into 2 to 4, we want to make sure that when somebody comes down here, they're proud to live here, and it's a space they can show off at the end of the day too. So first things first, if you were to come down here and be, okay, we need to finish this basement, what do we do first?
I think first you realize everything that you've got down here. Open ceiling, easy to run all our services, high ceiling height, and really only the one supporting beam is going to make the floor plan pretty easy to work with. We need a mechanical space that's completely air sealed from this dwelling, and we need to add a secondary heat source. We absolutely have to address these windows here, but they're not crazy costs. We would be doing 3 on this side, potentially 2, maybe 3 on this side, and the same on the other side. So if we were looking at 4 windows, we'd probably be looking at about $14,000, $16,000 done.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oof, that's great. And that's fully cleared, egress, can escape if there's any issues or whatnot.
Yeah.
So fully gives the safety.
Yeah, the
clearance
test
on
isn't
here.
that hard.
That's great.
It's got to be big enough to get out. You need enough depth on the window well. We're excavating anyway, and they got to open to 90 degrees to let you out.
Perfect.
No big deal.
Yeah. Okay, so not everything rolls as planned here. So we've got plumbing, laundry on one side, venting, laundry on the other. How do you go about moving them to one side, containing them so they're out of the way? In a situation like this, what do you see?
I'm not worried about the supply side. We can just move those pipes and get water to the other side, no problem. Where we're going to run into problems here, where we're going to spend the money, is on the drainage side. We got a couple things planned down here. We got a bathroom, a kitchen, and then a laundry move. So we're going to be cutting the concrete for sure.
Yeah.
Excavating, a little bit and putting in some new plumbing to get all the drainage where we need it.
That's perfect. Overall, great layout, really open, like you said. See a kitchen on this one side, you've got a bedroom, you got a living, entertaining area, This could be a pretty bright and open basement. I know it's a lot bigger and better than the basement suite I lived in when I first moved to Calgary. So this could be something where you walk down and you're proud to live here. And I think with everything brand new, that's just gonna beef up the amount you can charge for it too. All right, Leigh, Much appreciated for your
No
time.
problem.
So before you go, we want
Sure.
to allow a little bit of question here. So in regards to, any misconceptions, any forgotten elements, if you were to do this and be like, oh, I should have done this, or, where do you find the most missteps at the end of a big project like this?
Well, I guess the first one we talk about would be cost. We should plan to have a budget overrun of about 10%. Stuff happens when we open up walls, we see things that we weren't anticipating, or we see code compliance issues that are maybe a little bit more obscure. So we want to have a little bit of money set aside just to cover those. But one of the biggest ones is actually time. It really, really comes down to a great plan going in. Every day is important, and time is really expensive. So the more information we have up front, and the more planning we do prior to picking up a hammer, the smoother the project's going to go, and the less problem we're going to have on budget.
Perfect. And lastly, hire an expert. Just like you do for selling a home, you need to hire a professional for renovating a home and making sure it's done right and on time and on budget. So Leigh, we're going to drop his information down below so you can get a hold of him for your next quote renovation. But we're interested to hear your perspective on this one side, going from complete renovation here up and down. Where do you think the costs lie? Leave it in the comments down below. And if you want more information about the property and our estimates with the Excel sheet, get a hold of us in the details here down below in the comments, and we will get that information over to you ASAP. This is an incredible opportunity. I've priced it really, really well. If you want more information, you have to get a hold of me really quick, because it's going to sell to somebody that's thinking for the future. 2 doors into 4 money producing properties is where people want to be. So thanks so much to Leigh. Thanks so much to you. We'll see you on the next one.